I'll give you an example, the land occupation. They find that threatening. They feel that it's threatening to the legality, the rule of law. They find it threatening to their own possessions. Are you a scary character? Are you threatening the way South Africa operates?
No. We are going to take the land and put it under the state. And that is going to be done through legislation and not through violent means. So if South Africans do not want the land to be owned by the state and be shared by all, then they should vote against the EFF. But if you want the land, then you will vote the EFF, because the EFF is going to make the state a custodian of the land, and all of us will then go and contract with the state for the purpose of utilizing the land and specify the purpose of utilization of such piece of land, so that all, black and white, can have access to the land. So those who are scared of such a policy are greedy people, are the people who are having the land and enjoying seeing landless people around them. So if you don't want us to expropriate without compensation and make the state a custodian of the land which shall be shared by all, bring an alternative. Because willing buyer, willing seller has not worked. We're not going to disrupt any residential arrangement. Everybody else will have his or her right to a residential area, and all those owning big chunk of land, they will have to reapply to the state and state why they want to continue using that part of the land and get into a contractual relationship, perhaps a lease agreement of 70 to 100 years, so that we do not commit generations and generations and generations after to our agreement. We should have an agreement with you so that generations after, if they've got a different purpose for that land, they must be free to have access to it and use it for a different purpose. So South Africans, you cannot want to be greedy and perpetuate landless situation in South Africa. I'm still to hear the DA policy on land. They must tell us what are they going to do with the land? Because anyone who says to you, the owners of the land, we are not going to redistribute this land, you are going to remain in that position forever, that person is misleading you. Even if it's without the EFF, there will be an unled revolution. An unled revolution is anarchy. And anarchy is the highest form of lawlessness. You stand to lose. So you must embrace the more frank and open, honest people who say to you, the white ownership of the land is causing a serious discomfort in the country. And let's begin to talk openly about it and see how best we can shape it. In this statement, since I started speaking about land, I've never spoken about driving any white to a sea. I've never spoken about killing any white person. So if you are scared of a robust and frank debate, then that is your own baby to feed Malta Bella. It's not my problem.
Towards the end, but I have to ask you this. You've received a lot of support outside your normal constituency because of the way you have taken on the Nkandla matter and pursued the pay back the money issue. How long are you going to keep this alive?
Until he is paid. Let me tell you, the gentleman will have to pay because he has got no option. To me, there is no Ntleko report. I don't know why you guys even give that mess such a recognition, to an extent that we must be sitting in some committees to discuss a report not worth written on the paper it's written on. There is no Ntleko report, there is nothing. Ntleko must take those games, those TV games and go and play them with his kids if he's got kids at his home. We have no time for such things. We are going to protect the public protector. That report of the public protector is the alpha and the omega on the Nkandla matter. If the remedial actions are not implemented, we are going to demand of those remedial actions to be implemented. And when people say to you, every time you stand up, you say Nkandla, you have nothing to raise. You cannot be dictated to by your enemy how you must fight it. It's Zuma himself who says, you have nothing to raise, you're always talking about Nkandla, with the hope that will be ashamed of talking about it. He's wasting time. We're going to talk about it. You know, the ANC fought apartheid from 1912 to an extent that every time when they stood up in social gatherings, in funerals, and they start talking about apartheid, there were some amongst us who would say, boring. Hey, they have nothing to talk about. All the time they stand up, they talk apartheid. What happens today? Those who hated the speech on apartheid are the beneficiaries of such a speech. Today, Nkandla is a nickname of corruption. When we say Nkandla, we mean corruption. And why should we be tired of fighting corruption? Because Nkandla epitomizes corruption. If you do not know what the definition of corruption is, just go and look at Nkandla, then you will know what corruption looks like. So the struggle of today is a struggle against corruption. We will never be tired of fighting corruption. So we are going to raise Nkandla. Whenever he comes there, he must be rest assured. And he must thank his ancestors, because the last time he appeared, I was on a study leave. And when I saw him on TV doing those things he was doing, I was extremely disturbed. And I wished I was there. I was going to stop him there. Or that circus you'll take to your house. You are not going to ridicule a genuine cause of demanding you pay the money. He makes jokes because he thinks you are playing. And everybody else there laughs about it, and none of them says to him, stop doing that. You are actually making us more angry. He thinks we like those things he's doing. 250-something million on one man. Yesterday, article was shown in the newspapers when the spokesperson of the EFF visited schools, not in the rural areas, not in Zingi, here in Soweto. Because people think that development has not only reached rural areas. Here in Soweto, the children are still using the desks which were given to them by apartheid regime. Till today, you ask yourself, how many desks can 250-something million buy just to make a learning environment conducive for our children? I'm not talking about my children. I'm not yet at the villages where I come from. Yeah, in Soweto.
Okay, so we have to talk about Marikana. You were one of